My friends, this is not a sports show per se, but oftentimes there are stories that are subsumed, dare I say, under the rubric of sports that are the subject of news stories and the like. Our very good friend Tank Black joins us. He is the author of the incredible book called Tanked, which is a fantastic story. It's called Tanked, and it deals with his life as a woman before the sex change in Sweden. Oh, I'm sorry, it's the wrong book. Just kidding. Tank, welcome to the Lionel Show.
Hey, Lionel. Good morning. How you guys doing?
I'm doing finer than frog hair, as they say affectionately, Tank Black, in the South. Let me tell you right off the bat, you, of course, for those who don't know, were one of the most sought-after, prestigious, big-shot football sports agents in the nation. Would that be a fair assessment, sir?
I think that would be a very fair assessment of me, yes.
Is there any, when you first heard, Tank, that Rush Limbaugh actually sought co-ownership in the NFL, number one, and number two, multi-million-dollar players, African-American players, said they would not play for multi-million-dollar contracts if Rush Limbaugh were a part owner? What was your initial reaction to that?
Well, I heard about Rush Limbaugh first, and when I first heard it, I felt like that it would get shot down, mostly because of the comments that he made about Donovan McNabb a few years ago. And he's such a political person, so when you put those two together, you're going to get a lot of backlash. And owning an NFL team is pretty high profile. So I just didn't see that being able to go through in the first place. I can see why the black players would say they wouldn't want to play for somebody like Rush Limbaugh because of he has strong opinions and very strong views.
But Tank.
And he puts them out there on the radio for everybody to hear.
Are you suggesting to me, my friend, that they would quit? I mean, they may not like, if they had their druthers, I'm sure, I'd pick somebody else. But there's no way they're going to quit if he because they have a contract to that team, and it is not contingent upon who the owner is.
Well, no, they wouldn't quit. What the problem is, you're dealing in a world of free agency in the National Football League, so you're trying to attract other players from other teams.
What does that mean to somebody who's not familiar with that term?
That means that when a player's contract runs out, he has the ability to switch teams, or whoever that is. It may be a player on the Giants who can come to the St. Louis Rams, or it may be a player on the Rams who can leave and go to the Atlanta Falcons.
Now, can I stop you just right there for a second? Because if it wasn't for changes in, I know, professional baseball, was it Maury Wills? Who was, or I don't know who started that, but there was a time when free agency, because most people would say, well, of course you could quit and go to another team. That wasn't always the case, was it, sir?
No. Listen, not until the 1993 could you actually switch teams in the National Football League, Lionel. So that wouldn't even be applicable today. But today, you can actually switch teams and go to a different team and another player come to your team and all that stuff. And
Curt Flood in professional baseball changed that, at least initially. There was that. But here's the thing, too. As far as Rush Limbaugh's comments, and this is the part that gets me.
Okay.
You know, what Rush Limbaugh did, which was the number one problem, the big faux pas, Tank Black, author of Tanked, is that what he said about Donovan McNabb was wrong. It wasn't the fact that it was racist, but at the time, we remember documenting. In fact, Pete helped me out with this. The fans of Philadelphia booed him. There was no desirous media that wanted to see him succeed. They got all over him about everything from gaining weight to getting married to you name it. And Rush Limbaugh, living perhaps maybe in the 80s, in the days of the Doug Williams and Randall Cunninghams, still had this mindset that the media is propping up this lone black quarterback. That was the problem with Rush. He didn't know what the hell he was talking about.
Well, he didn't know what he was talking about, and Rush wants to be able to attract people to listen to him on the radio, and he's willing to say whatever he needs to say to get that attraction. That's, of course, not true with your show, Lionel, But
Oh,
Rush
no.
is he's a political guy.
Now,
And
Pete,
so,
remember this? Stand by for a second. Pete Conlon of Beverly Hills, my myrmidon in Dimbox, joins us. We were working together on the show, and we used to go through the papers every day, and Rush Limbaugh didn't know what the hell he was talking about.
No,
way off base.
he didn't know about
base.
football. He really didn't. I don't know what he was doing there.
Now, let me ask
Rush,
you this. You know, of course, in your past, and you make it very well known, Tank Black, in the book Tanked, the author, we speak with Tank Black. And we have, by the way, a link to your book and your information on our website at lionelonline.com. Michael Vick just came out of prison, and I'm sorry, but I think the man paid his debt to society. He was in Leavenworth, for God's sake. This isn't some mythical club fed. He did it. He lost millions of dollars of endorsement contracts. They went crazy at first. What was your take, both as an ex-agent, but also as somebody who spent time in federal prison? What did you think about him?
My take about Michael Vick is exactly what you just said. He has paid his debt to society. He has made his mistake. He's admitted to that mistake. He said has been remorseful about that mistake. But more importantly, he's been punished for that mistake. And in our society, when you make mistakes, we have law. And we have people who punish you for those mistakes. And once that happens, you should be able to start all over and go about your business. And if you make another mistake, you're going to get punished even further.
And do you know, Tank Black, what was interesting? His biggest defender right now, believe it or not, is somebody from the NAACP, because he has done more. And this is not necessarily this man was very sincere. I don't recall his name at the moment, but he said that Michael Vick did more to explain the horrors, the problems of dogfighting than anybody he has ever heard. Now,
that's right.
Next question to you, Tank Black, author of Tanked, of course. And by the way, it's a great gift. You know, Christmas Tank is just around the corner. And your book is a fine for dad or grad and a great stocking stuffer. Now, let's talk about Plaxico Burress, who was heading away for 2 years or so plus. What would you advise somebody who is about to enter the system, a system you know something about?
Yeah, my advice to somebody like Plaxico would simply be stay to yourself. Don't do a whole lot of talking. Be the friendly person that he is, because he is a friendly person overall. And, don't get into no crap. Just, if you don't bother anybody, Lionel, in prison, if you don't bother anybody and get involved in anything, then you're not going to have any issues or any problems. But there's plenty of problems in prison if you bother people or speak to people the wrong way or get involved in things you shouldn't be involved in.
This is not really sports related, but what would you advise Bernie Madoff?
I wouldn't really have any advice for Bernie Madoff because he is hated so much by people in there. I promise you that they just he has to stay to himself completely. Mm-hmm. That's what I would advise him, because he's hurt so many people and he's admitted to it, and he's talking about it in the press like he's some rock star for doing it.
And Tank, one of the things that's interesting, in fact, I read this, that if you're a big-time financier or banker and you've lost millions of dollars and you've got nothing to lose, it would not be very difficult for somebody to get a hold of some lifer or somebody who's in for a long time and says, listen, you stick a shiv in this guy and we'll make sure your family's taken care of. It's no big deal. How would you like $50,000 for your mom and dad if you rough Bernie up? Now, I'm not hoping this happens, but that's what a lot of people on the outside are saying could happen on the inside.
Don't be surprised if something like that were to happen to Lionel, because that does happen every day in prison.
Well, Tank Black, let me tell you something. Your book should be read by everybody, not because you're a great guy, but it's a terrific book. It's an inspirational book.
I am a great guy, Lionel.
Well, you are a great guy. Damn it, that's true. Let's don't hide away from that. Let me tell you something. Tank Black, you're the best, my friend. Thank you so much for being with us.
All right, buddy. You guys have a great day. I enjoyed being on your show.
You better believe it. The great, the one and only Tank Black. The one and only